Part 63. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 621. Chapter 621 When Pi, what are you talking about? She has a sweet and well-behaved appearance. She looks soft and cute, the kind of appearance that will please her elders. Now in front of the old lady, she looked well-behaved and obedient, and the old lady liked her even more. Arrived at the dining room. In the past, Mo Yesi was sitting next to the old lady, but now it is Chiao Mian Mian. Whenever Chiao Mian Mian likes to eat, the old lady will have a plate put in front of her so that she can pick up the food. During the meal, Chiao Mian Mian just mentioned that the dessert she had at Mazai last time was delicious, and the old lady immediately asked the kitchen to make one for her. In short, the old lady's love for her has even forced her two grandchildren to step aside. Mo Yesi and Mo Shixiu didn't think anything was wrong. There are all boys in the family, and suddenly there is a girl. It is normal for the old lady to pamper her like this. Everyone in the Mo family knows that the old lady has always wanted to have a granddaughter, but she has always given birth to sons. The old lady has two sons in total. Mo Yesi also has a cousin. So adding the two brothers, the old lady has three grandchildren. But there is no granddaughter. Chiao Mianmian's appearance and personality were in line with the old lady's expectations for her future granddaughter, so she loved this granddaughter-in-law as if she were her own granddaughter. Mo Yesi is happy to see someone love his wife. The only person at the dinner table who felt uncomfortable was Mo. Thinking of the phone call Shenro made this afternoon, her face darkened, and she suddenly threw the knife and fork into the dinner plate with a pop sound. It is one of the most basic etiquettes to avoid making inappropriate noises while eating. Mo came from a famous family and has known this since she was a child. So she threw away her knife and fork, and the conversation at the dinner table stopped at the same time. Everyone looked at her sideways. The old lady frowned. Wenpei, what are you doing? Mom Mo picked up the napkin and wiped the corners of her lips gracefully. After wiping, she threw the napkin on the table, her slightly sharp eyes fell on Chiao Mian Mian, and her tone was a little cold. I suddenly remembered something I feel I need to talk about. If you have anything to do, let's talk about it after eating. The old lady was very dissatisfied with her behavior just now, and her tone was not much better. Do you have to talk about it while eating? Normally, Mo wouldn't dare to say anything when she saw the old lady like this. But when she remembered what Shenro said, she plucked up her courage, and for a rare moment she toughened up, and said in a cold voice, everyone is here now, so it's the right time to talk. I'm sorry for interrupting Mom's meal. But what I'm about to say is also important. When Mo's eyes came over, Chiao Mian Mian felt it immediately. As soon as she raised her head, she saw a trace of disgust and anger in Mo's eyes, and she immediately had a bad feeling in her heart. She felt that what Mo was going to say next must be related to her. Just as she was thinking this, she heard Mo say coldly, Mian Mian, is there something you are hiding from us that you haven't confessed to us? Chiao Mian Mian put down the juice she just picked up. She raised her head and looked at Mo, her tone was still polite. Mom, what are you talking about? The old lady also put down her chopsticks. Wenpei, what on earth are you talking about? Kavan has been stuck for the past 2 days. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 622. Chapter 622 Always remember your identity. Mo looked at Chiao Mianmian's calm look and couldn't help but sneered, we in the Mo family are not sticklers. Although famous families have always paid attention to well-matched families since ancient times, I also hope that my two sons will find a son for me. The daughter-in-law is a girl from the same family as our Mo family, but rules are dead and people are alive. If they really fall in love with a girl from a small family, as long as the other party is an innocent girl and there is nothing messy about her. I can accept it too. Sometimes, moral character is more important than family background. My thoughts are open enough, right? I didn't say that your Chiao family and Mo family's family backgrounds don't match, so I'm just going to beat you up and not let you be with ASI. But although I don't have many demands, it doesn't mean that I don't have any at all. Require. At this point, Mrs. Mo's face darkened, and her eyes became sharper. Since you have married my son and are the young lady of the Mo family, you should know your identity, know your duties, understand the rules, and always keep them in mind. With your status, don't do anything that will harm the face of our Mo family. Mrs. Mo's words can be said to be quite disrespectful. Even the superficial harmony was not maintained. The expressions of the other people at the table changed. Chiao Mian was also startled. When she met Mrs. Mo's sharp eyes, she was stunned for a few seconds, and she probably guessed what was going on. "Mom, I don't know what you are talking about." Seeing that she was still pretending to be confused, Mrs. Mo's expression became even worse. "What happened to your ex-fiancé? You are now with ACI, and you are still entangled with him. Chiao Mian, do you think we are? What kind of family is the Mo family?" The old lady turned her head and glanced at Chiao Mian. Her brows tightened, but her tone was still gentle and gentle. Mian, what do you mean by what your mother-in-law just said?" "What else could happen?" Mrs. Mo said coldly. "It has made the news and been seen by so many people. Have you considered the feelings of our Mo family, my son?" "Mom, you told me that someone like ASI in this situation, it would be great to find a wife, and it doesn't matter if your family background is different. I thought about it and think what you said makes sense. As long as ACI lives a happy life, why should I ask for so much? With our current situation in the Mo family, there is nothing missing in terms of status, there is no need for a strong marriage." "But," Mrs. Mo continued to stare at Chiao Mian with a knife-like gaze, "I don't have to ask for my daughter-in-law's family background, but it is absolutely not allowed if her character is not up to standard." With Mrs. Mo making such a fuss, she couldn't continue to eat. Mian, what's going on?" The old lady looked at Chiao Mian with still gentle and kind eyes. Obviously, he didn't believe what Mrs. Mo said. She has lived for most of her life and has never seen such a person. She trusts her own gaze. Her granddaughter-in-law is a good, well-behaved, and honest child at first glance, and there is absolutely no way she would do anything to get entangled with her ex. There must be some misunderstanding in this. She never sees the wrong person. Her grandson is a smart and sober person, and it is impossible to pick a random girl to marry. "Grandma, there is a misunderstanding here." Chiao Mian didn't show any panic on her face. She met Madame Mo's cold and disgusted gaze and said with neither arrogance nor condescension, "It's not like what Mom said. Someone maliciously spread rumors." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 623. Chapter 623, She was not asked to come back and be wronged. Rumors, Mrs. Mo didn't believe it at all, and said with sharp eyebrows, "Someone took photos of you together, and you still say it's a rumor." "Mom, no, Chiao Mian was about to explain when she heard a low and cold voice beside her. "This matter has been clarified, what else is there to ask? I know what kind of person my own wife is." "Mom, if you hear any rumors again next time, you can ask me first. If you are so cruel to Mian, it will scare her. I brought her back because I wanted her to feel the warmth of family, not to feel wronged." After he finished speaking, he reached under the table, took Xiao Mianmian's hand and squeezed it gently, then wrapped her little hand bit by bit. Use practical actions to express his absolute trust and protection for her. Mrs. Mo's face turned ugly after seeing all this, and she was livid with anger. What rumor? She said it was a rumor, but it was just a rumor? ACI, don't believe her too much. Do you think I am making trouble unreasonably? I would say that without actual evidence. You don't trust your mother, but you trust an outsider. Mrs. Mo was very popular. Her biological son would rather believe an outsider than her. At the critical moment, he chose that woman and did not give her, the biological mother, any face. Put her into an embarrassing situation. In extreme anger, there was not much reason left that was burned by anger. Some words buried in my heart were blurted out in anger and impulsiveness. As soon as Mrs. Mo said these words, the old lady's expression suddenly changed. Mo Yesi's eyes darkened, his face looked as usual, but there was a bit of coldness in his eyes. Mo Shixio also frowned, a little surprised that Mrs. Mo would say such a thing. In his eyes, Mrs. Mo has always been an elegant, gentle, well-educated, and good mother. She has received a good education since she was a child, and has excellent interests and self-cultivation. It is impossible for her to say such hurtful and rude words. This is what those sarcastic mothers-in-law would say. Isn't it too hurtful to say that your daughter-in-law is an outsider? Wenpei, what you did today is so disappointing to me. As a mother-in-law, is this what you should say? Mian is already married to ACI, and she is a member of the Mo family and a family member. You can even say this to outsiders. After Mrs. Mo finished speaking impulsively, she also discovered that she had said something she shouldn't have said. But she has to maintain face. She could not take back what she had already said. It is even more impossible for her to apologize to her daughter-in-law and admit her mistake. Besides, she felt that she had done nothing wrong. How could she treat a daughter-in-law with bad moral character as a family member? Now that the words had been spoken, Mrs. Mo had nothing to worry about. She persisted and said, "Mom, she did such a thing. Have you ever thought that she is the daughter-in-law of our Mo family? I don't regard her as a member of the family. What's wrong with people's opinions? I really don't dare to have such a daughter-in-law." That's enough. The old lady slammed the table, her face darkened, and she got angry. ACI has already said that it was a rumor, and Mian is his wife. If that thing is true, what do you think? Can he bear it? His own daughter-in-law, doesn't he know better than you, the mother? Don't take some rumors as they are true. If you use rumors to make this family uneasy, you will spoil this good meal. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 624. Chapter 624. You are the family, and I am the outsider. Do you think there are few things at home and you have to make something happen to be happy? Grandma, don't be angry. Mo Shixia was afraid that the old lady would get angry and break her health, so he immediately got up and walked to the old lady, stretched out his hand and patted her on the back. Since this matter is a misunderstanding, please explain. It'll be good if it's clear. Mom. After Mo Shixia comforted the old lady, he raised his head and looked at Mrs. Mo, frowning slightly and said, "You must have misunderstood my sister and brother. I believe in the character of my sister and brother. This matter ends here, so don't say anything more. Now that my brother and sister have married into the Mo family, they are part of our Mo family. Don't say the word outsider again." Mo Shixia has always been in a position of superiority. He has held an important position in the Ministry of National Defense of country at a young age. When he becomes serious and talks about something seriously, even Mrs. Mo is actually a little afraid of this eldest son. But she didn't want to lose face in front of so many people. As a mother-in-law, she saw her daughter-in-law flirting with her ex on the street and asked her what was wrong. Shouldn't she ask? How come her daughter-in-law is still wronged? Who is this acting for? Want to stir up disharmony between her and her son? MRSMO had long since determined that Jiao Mian was a scheming woman, and tricked his son into marrying her first and then marrying her. She was very unhappy about this matter. If it weren't for the old lady, she would never have accepted this daughter-in-law so easily. It is impossible to let such a scheming woman into her MO family. Since she has determined that Jiao Mian is a scheming and unkind woman, naturally whatever Jiao Mian does is considered a deliberate act in her eyes. They are all manifestations of deep scheming. It corresponds to the saying, when you don't like a person, whatever he does is wrong. Especially, now that her two sons and the old lady were siding with Jiao Mian, her dislike for Jiao Mian deepened even more. Not long after this woman married into the Mo family, she caused disharmony in the family. From now on, I still don't know what means I will use to make this home even more unstable. Okay, MRSMO stood up in anger. She felt that she was alone and helpless. Even her own son would not help her. She said aggrieved and angry, "It's my fault. I misunderstood her. It's me." It broke her heart out of nothing. She is completely innocent, she did nothing wrong. I am an evil mother-in-law who specializes in bullying my daughter-in-law. I made a mistake just now. You are the family, and I am the outsider. After roaring the last sentence as if to vent her anger, MRSMO turned around with red eyes and left the dining room angrily. It's really unruly, it's really unruly. What does this look like? It doesn't look like an elder at all. This is like being spoiled by your father, not spoiled at all. The old lady's anger that had just calmed down was revealed by the fact that she had already walked out of the dining room. MRSMO became excited again. I was so angry that I couldn't even breathe easily. Old lady, please calm down, and don't make your body suffer from anger. Uncle John was so frightened when he saw the old lady panting that he immediately took out the medicine the old lady took every day, and the maid beside him also. I immediately brought a glass of warm water over. The old lady is getting older. Although she takes good care of her body every day, it is inevitable that she will still have some minor problems. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 625. Chapter 625, More and More Impressed. Every day, I am also taking medicine. Uncle John was afraid that her blood pressure would rise if she got angry, so he immediately handed the medicine and water to her. Old lady, take the medicine quickly. The old lady was still so angry that she kept pounding the table and said, I don't take medicine, so why should I take medicine? If I get angry today, I can just ask Yun Chen to go home and show him how he dotes on his wife. What has become? Uncle John knew that the old lady had lost her temper. Just like a child, she had to be coaxed to get better. He thought for a while, handed the medicine to Jiao Mian, and said with a smile, Second young madam, you should coax the old lady to take the medicine. The old lady likes you the most. If you coax her, she will definitely listen to you. Jiao Mian was also afraid that something would happen to the old lady because of her anger. Especially, the old lady was so angry just to defend herself. Then she will definitely feel very guilty and feel very sorry. Grandma, can you take the medicine? Otherwise, we will worry about you. Jiao Mian took the water cup and the medicine and said softly, I think Mom has a little misunderstanding about me. It's me. I didn't do it right. I should have taken the initiative to explain this matter clearly to you, so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. If you make yourself so angry because of these things, I will feel very sad and guilty. The old lady was very angry, and as soon as she heard her soft and cute voice, most of it disappeared immediately. Looking at the well-behaved and sensible granddaughter-in-law beside her, she felt more and more that Jiao Mian was being hurt. Her obedient grandson-in-law coaxed her to take medicine, but she couldn't bear to let her coax her all the time. Immediately took the water cup and medicine and drank the medicine. Uncle John looked on and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At the same time, I became even more impressed with this second young lady. The old lady seems to have a good temper, but in fact, no one in the Mo family knows that she is usually easy to talk to, but once she becomes stubborn, she can also have a bad temper. When she becomes stubborn, no one can easily persuade her. And the second young lady, with just a few words, easily made the old lady listen to her words. This skill is not something that ordinary people can have. This also shows that the old lady is quite satisfied with and likes this granddaughter-in-law. Even they can see it, and the lady must be able to see it too. But madam, why do you have to do something that makes everyone unhappy? The second young lady has already married into the Mo family and has been recognized by the old lady. The second young master also loves her very much. If the madam is smarter, she should try to slowly accept the second young lady and like the second young lady. Home and everything will be prosperous. What's the point of being opposed to someone who is accepted by everyone? Absolutely not. Let the second young master and young madam get a divorce. Let's not talk about other things. The second young master is not the kind of person who has no independent opinions. Nor is he a foolish and filial person. Unless he doesn't like the second young madam himself, it is impossible to divorce the second young madam because of someone else. Second young madam is still great. Uncle John is a wise person. After realizing Chiao Mianmian's position in the Mo family, his attitude became more respectful and kind. The old lady can still listen to what you say. If we are to persuade you, how can I can persuade you? That's because grandma loves me. Chiao Mian held the old lady's arm and shook it gently, her voice soft. The old lady was so kind to her, and Chiao Mian was not indifferent, so she naturally became closer to the old lady. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 626. Chapter 626. This is a sign of true feelings. We Mian are so good and so annoying. If grandma doesn't love you, who will you love? After taking the medicine, the old lady asked Chiao Mian to coax her. Her mood stabilized a lot. She took Chiao Mian's hand and patted her gently. He said in a loud voice, "Don't take what your mother-in-law said just now to your heart. In grandma's heart, you are grandma's granddaughter. She doesn't know who she heard the rumors from, and whether she believes them or not. Suspicious, that's why you said those words. When she wakes up, she will realize her mistake." "Grandma, don't worry." Chiao Mian nodded and said with a smile, "I know that, and I won't take it seriously." "That's good," the old lady said with satisfaction. "The family should be harmonious. It would be bad if there is any estrangement." "Grandma." Seeing the old lady's amiable manner and talking to her in a gentle voice, Chiao Mian's eyes were a little sore, and her eyes couldn't help but turn red. She thought of her grandmother. In memory, her grandmother also spoke so softly when talking to her. "Oh, why do you have red eyes? Are you sad?" Her eyes turned red, which made the old lady feel distressed. She hurriedly coaxed in a good voice, "Good boy, stop crying. Grandma knows that you have been wronged. Don't worry, Grandma will help you regain your temper soon." With the old lady's coaxing, Chiao Mian's eyes became even redder and her nose became more sore. Woo woo woo. She felt that she was so virtuous and capable that she could please the old lady so much. Let the old lady be so nice to her. Seeing that her eyes were red, Mo Yesi frowned, thinking that she felt aggrieved, so she cried. He immediately reached out to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes, and coaxed softly, "Are you really wronged? I will go and help you get back your breath in a moment, okay? Stop crying. When you cry, I feel uncomfortable. I, I didn't cry because I felt wronged. Xiao Mian was crying so hard that Mo Yesi just wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes with his sleeves, and the tears slipped out again. After a while, the cuffs of his silver gray shirt were all stained with her tears. He didn't even look at the wet area, but still coaxed in a nice voice, "It's not because of grievances, what's the reason? If you tell me, Grandma and I will make the decision for you." Uncle John looked on in a daze. Although he already knew that the second young master doted on the second young lady, he was still a little surprised when he saw this scene. "Second young master, misophobia is quite serious." But he didn't seem to care at all about the second young lady soiling his sleeves. As if misophobia does not exist. He once again realized deeply that the second young lady's importance to the second young master was much deeper than he imagined. And the way the second young master looked at her. Gentle and doting. This is a sign of true feelings. Although the second young lady is very good looking, there are few men who would dislike such a beauty. But this man is the second young master. With a family like the Mo family, what kind of beauties has the second young master never seen since childhood? The eldest lady of the Shen family is also very beautiful, isn't she? And the second young master and I have been childhood sweethearts growing up together. I didn't see the second young master falling in love with her either. Yes, girl, why are you crying? Tell Grandma, Grandma will make the decision for you. The old lady saw Xiao Mian crying like that. Her eyes were red and swollen, like rabbit eyes. It made her heart ache. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 627. Chapter 627. I won't make you feel lonely anymore. I'm not wrong. Xiao Mian sobbed and raised her head, looking at the man beside her who was wiping her tears, and then looking at the worried old lady. Her heart seemed to be filled with a warm current, and her whole heart was warm. She was moved and said, "I just feel very happy. Grandma, you are so kind to me, just like my own grandma. I just thought of my grandma, so I couldn't help crying." The old lady had someone investigate her after Mo Yesi brought Xiao Mian back to Mo's house for the first time. Although she believed that her grandson's vision would be fine, she still had to have someone check it out for such a big matter as marriage. Of course, we also know that Grandma Xiao Mian passed away very early. Her mother also passed away very early. At this moment, seeing the little girl burst into tears thinking about her grandmother, I felt even more pity for her. The old lady stretched out her hand to touch her head, and coaxed her in a soft voice, "Good boy, it turns out you miss your grandma. Don't cry, Grandma must be fine now. She has gone to heaven to enjoy her blessings. From now on, Grandma will hurt you. You." Mo Yesi didn't expect that she would cry because of this. He also remembered that Xiao Mian's grandmother and mother had both passed away. Thinking about how difficult it had been for his little wife these years, he held his little wife in his arms distressedly and coaxed her like a child, "Baby, don't cry. Although Grandma has left you, there are still other people around you who love you. You will always be so happy from now on. I will always be by your side and I will never let you feel lonely again." The old lady smiled happily when she saw the young couple being so loving. At the dinner table, Mo Shixiu, who was obsessed with work and still single, felt a little uncomfortable when he saw his brother and sister-in-law abusing dogs. He couldn't tell where exactly he felt unwell. "I just think it's a bit dazzling." His younger brother was not of this temper before. No matter how beautiful a woman is, he won't take a second look at her. Let alone doing things like being affectionate in public. But now, listening to what his brother said softly to coax his younger siblings, Mo Shixiu felt very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Had he not seen it with his own eyes and heard it with his own ears, How would he have believed that his brother, who had never been a womanizer, would now love and care for his wife so much? Is the magic of love really that powerful? It can make one person change so much. He doesn't want to fall in love or try love because he finds it troublesome. I also find it boring. He will not waste time on things that he thinks are meaningless. Boss, are you envious? Mo Shixia was thinking about something when he suddenly heard the old lady mention him. He couldn't help but come back to his senses, raised his head and looked at the old lady. Grandma. The old lady looked at her excellent eldest grandson. When she thought about his eldest grandson, who was perfect in every aspect but was still single, she felt a little worried and said, "If you envy your brother, you should find him for Grandma earlier. A well-behaved granddaughter-in-law is back. As long as the lifelong affairs of you two brothers are settled, Grandma will have nothing to worry about." Mo Shixiu. He had a headache and said, "Grandma, I have something else to do. I'm going to the study for a while." Every time he came back, the old lady would talk to him about getting married. Concerning this point, Mo Shixia was very irritable and helpless. Completed the update today. Thank you Laha, 1, Ur, 15214, 13882, Lian, Ashubair, 15987, different pupils, please ask, I will reward you because you care. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 628. Chapter 628. He doesn't want to make do with it. The person who urged the marriage was the old lady, his grandmother. What could he do? Do you think running away can solve the problem? The old lady became more and more dissatisfied, her temper came back, and she said angrily, "Every time I talk to you about this matter, you find excuses to leave. I know you think that I am an old lady. I'm annoying you, and you don't want to hear my ramblings anymore. Then you should try your best and find me a granddaughter-in-law as soon as possible. Once you find her, I won't bother you anymore." Mo Shixiu. The old lady's mood has just stabilized, and he doesn't want to make her angry again. He smiled helplessly and said in a good voice, "Grandma, finding a wife is not as simple as buying groceries on the street and just buying them casually. It's not like I want to find a wife who can be found right away. I promise you, if I find someone I like, I will definitely bring him home to your old man to see, okay?" Although Mo Shixia was not interested in finding a woman to fall in love with, he never thought about being single for the rest of his life. He is not a celibate. He just felt that if getting married meant staying with someone for the rest of his life, then he couldn't find someone he didn't like. Life is so long, and he doesn't want to make do with it. Even if he doesn't get married for love in the end, his wife must be a woman he has a certain affection for. Not just a non-annoying woman. The old lady no longer believed his perfunctory words. She has been urging her for so many years, but this is not what her eldest grandson said. But has he ever brought a girl home? No, not even once. Her little grandson, on the other hand, had never promised her anything, and she had no expectations of him, yet he brought her back a grandson-in-law in silence. That's all. The old lady also knew in her heart that her two grandchildren were very independent people, and if she wanted to force them into marriage, she would never be able to do so. They will rely on her for small things. Major matters are all decided by yourself. Rather than saying that she is urging the marriage, it is better to say that she is reminding him. She hoped that her eldest grandson would not focus solely on work, but would think about finding a partner when he was free. She was just afraid that he would completely forget about it. Anyway, I have said so much, but you may not be able to listen to much. I just hope that I can see you get married and have children in my lifetime, and I will have nothing to regret. I feel a little full after eating. Mian, would you like to take a walk in the garden with Grandma?" Seeing that the old lady was about to get up, Chiao Mian immediately took her arm and helped her stand up slowly. Okay, I'm full and want to take a walk. I'll accompany grandma. So good. The old lady took her little hand and touched it. She turned around with a smile and teased her grandson. ACI, you and your wife are tired of being together every day. You don't need this few hours. I can borrow your wife temporarily. Give it to grandma for a while. Mo Yesi raised his lips. Of course, no problem. Then let's go. Mian, let's go. Grandma will take you to see the scenery of the garden, I'm telling you. The old lady held Chiao Mian's hand affectionately, and Chiao Mian also held her arm affectionately. The old and the young went for a walk in the garden happily. Asterisk. After they leave, brothers Mo Shixio and Mo Yesi also left the dining room. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 629. Chapter 629. I quite like this accident. They haven't seen each other for a while. Mo Shixio looked at his younger brother who had already married and started a business and turned into someone else's husband. He said with emotion, I didn't expect that you got married first. I didn't expect it either. Mo Yesi smiled, this matter was never in my plan. However, I quite like this surprise. Mo Shixio raised his eyebrows, reached out and took off his glasses, revealing a pair of deep and cold eyes. My sister-in-law is nice, treat her well. She is my wife, of course I will treat her well. When Mo Yesi talked about Chiao Mian, his eyebrows became much gentler. The aura emanating from his body is not as cold and distant as usual. Mo Shixio naturally felt the change in his aura. He couldn't help but raise the corners of his lips again, looked at him with a hint of meaning in his eyes and said, I heard that you guys had a flash marriage. Originally, I thought you got married for some reason and there was no emotion involved. It seems that I was wrong. Mo Shixio naturally knows his brother very well. Whether you like it or not, whether you really like it or not, you can tell at a glance. Mo Yesi also curled his lips, and his formerly stern face was now covered with a soft color. Well, she and I are indeed together for some reason. If it develops to this point, I also did not expect. Perhaps, this is the so-called destiny. He had never believed in this before. What kind of destiny arrangement is just a feudal superstition? But now, he is willing to believe in fate. Chiao Mian was his destiny. Hearing the words destined from Mo Yesi's mouth, Mo Shixio was startled, with a look of astonishment on his face. He was stunned for a few seconds and joked, do you believe this now? I have no feudal superstition. Mo Yesi half squinted his eyes, and the girl's delicate and charming face appeared in his mind. There was a soft color in his eyes, and he gently tugged at the corners of his lips and said, I just believe that she must be arranged by God. Mine. Mo Shixio found it funny, isn't this feudal superstition? Brother, when you find someone you like in the future, you will understand this feeling. Mo Yesi didn't explain too much, reached out and patted Mo Shixio's shoulder, and said meaningfully. Mo Shixio. Why does he feel that he is being ridiculed? Is his brother mocking him because he is still single, that's why he doesn't understand? Let's talk seriously. Mo Shixio raised his head and glanced upstairs, frowning slightly. Mom, you'd better go and give her some advice. We don't have anyone to help her tonight. She will definitely become more and more dissatisfied with her younger siblings. If you really want to do it for your younger siblings' sake, don't make her too angry. You are protecting your younger siblings, but doing so will only cause the relationship between her and mom to become more and more tense. If there is a misunderstanding, explain the misunderstanding clearly as a family. It is best not to have an overnight feud. Mo Yesi was silent for a moment and nodded, I understand. He knew that Mo Shixia was not partial to anyone. His eldest brother is not a foolish and filial person. It's good that you know. Mo Shixia also reached out and patted him on the shoulder. I have something else to do, so I'm going to the study first. You and mom should have a good talk. Tell her properly. She's not unreasonable. Asterisk. In a bedroom on the second floor. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 630. Chapter 630. When the time comes, I won't be polite. Mo was talking to Shenro on the phone with runny nose and tears. Rura, you are right, that woman is very scheming. The old lady likes her very much now, so she will pamper her like her own granddaughter. Others I can't even talk about it. There is an old lady protecting her, and she doesn't even take me as her mother-in-law seriously. I think after a while, what status will I still have in this family? My daughter-in-law will have to ride on my head. I don't know what was said over there. Mo's face became gloomier and there were more tears in her eyes. Now they don't believe me and think I'm making trouble unreasonably. Si is even more confused by her. He only knows how to speak for her and doesn't doubt her at all. As expected, these women from small families are really powerful and have great brains. They are all shrewd and calculating, with first-class methods. ACI is a good person at work, and it is rare to find someone better than him in his age group. However, he suffers a lot emotionally and has no experience at all. He is just like this. The woman was cheated. How could such an excellent son of mine be kidnapped by such a woman? Rura, it would be great if you were my daughter-in-law. I don't know how happy Aunt Mo would be. Mo said, wiping her tears. A gentle voice came from the phone. Aunt Mo, please stop crying. What can I do if you break your body from crying? There are some things that I can't just unilaterally wish for. Of course I also want to becoming Aunt Mo's daughter-in-law, it's just that, Asita doesn't mean anything to me, so what else can I do besides wish him well? Actually, Chiao Mian must have her own advantages, otherwise why would brother ACI like her so much? If Aunt Mo could try to accept her, she might find that she is not as bad as you think. There's no way I can accept her. Shenro's words of comfort not only had no effect, but instead angered Mo even more. She sneered coldly, what advantage can she have? She just relies on that face to confuse my son. It doesn't matter if she has a bad background. What kind of film and television school did you study in? Are you going to act in the future? If she becomes an actor, wouldn't it be a disgrace to our Mo family? How can I, the young lady of the Mo family, be an actor? But Aunt Mo, there was silence for a moment, as if there was something unspeakable. What's wrong? Rura, what do you want to say? I don't know whether I should say this, but Aunt Mo, you are so opposed to her acting, but what if she insists on joining the entertainment industry? As far as I know, she has acted in several dramas before, but they are all some soy sauce roles. Now that she has such a strong backing as brother ACI, as long as she says a word, brother ACI can invest in letting her play the female lead. I'm afraid, she won't be able to refuse this temptation. Mo's face sank and she said coldly, I can never accept it. The entertainment industry is so dirty, and she became an actress, and others don't know how to laugh at our Mo family. If ACI allows her to act recklessly, when the time comes, you're welcome. And Mo, don't be angry. I'm just guessing. Now that she's married to brother ACI and has become the young lady of the Mo family, she doesn't bother to be an artist anymore. Moreover, she should also know that doing so will make her the Mo family is so shameless that they don't consider your feelings at all. End of this chapter.